speaking of authentic, I would like to give
Okay.
my authentic opinion about Cobra Kai.
Oh yeah, it's the was it that YouTube Red series? That's kind of the continuation of the Karate Kid tale.
Yes, yes, that's exactly what it is. And
Awesome.
if
And
I may bring it back to one of our other favorite topics to talk about, I wish Cobra Kai is what I wish Last Jedi had
oh.
just just to bring it back, just to give it, some give our little show here some consistency. We always talk about Star Wars. We always have a Simpsons reference, and what was that third thing?
All right, well, I got to hear this
Oh,
now.
okay. Well, because here's the thing: because Cobra Kai definitely expands the lore, but not at the expense of what of where that lore came from. And it did a really good job of introducing new characters, but not at the expense of the old characters.
Okay.
So yeah, they were able to bring in these new characters, these new kids, and I was able to become fully invested in them and their progressions, but then again, it wasn't at the expense of the old characters, which is Daniel LaRusso, of course, played by Ralph Macchio, and Johnny Lawrence, played by Billy Zabka.
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, this was kind of Johnny Lawrence's redemption story, because
True.
it was like it was 34. The story takes place like 34 years after the first Karate Kid movie. And Johnny Lawrence is down on his luck. He's a handyman. He drives an old car. He has a failed marriage. He has a kid that can't stand him. And then and then he tries, and what is it? And then fate has it that he's brought back. He's somewhat brought back into the life of Daniel LaRusso, Ralph Macchio's character, who's gone on to be like very successful. He owns like a few car dealerships. He lives in the nicer part of the valley, so on and so forth. Has two kids. A beautiful wife. The American dream, basically.
Right.
And so then we see Johnny Lawrence get kind of pulled into being a teacher to this kid who lives in his building, who's getting bullied, and the only reason why he does that or the only reason why he even gets drawn into this neighbor kid's life is that the neighbor kid was getting beat up in front of Lawrence, and like the kids actually knock the kid into Johnny's car, and it's like, hey, watch the car. And the bully kids start to try to start something with him, and he lays them out. Right, and then he's not so kind of in the reverse of Mr. Miyagi, where Mr. Miyagi would for like altruistic reasons kind of intervenes and then eventually takes Daniel under his wing as a student. Johnny Lawrence's character is a little more hesitant and didn't dispatch the bullies for altruistic reasons. It's more of just like I didn't want to get involved, but you guys were knocking my car, so I have to get involved now.
Right.
So that's kind of like the happenings of the first episode.
Well, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. And I gotta say, what was that?
You've watched the whole series, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was funny because I watched the first 2 episodes. And I'm just like, holy crap, this is so much fun. And at the end of every episode, it's like, what's gonna happen next? So yeah, in one night I just binge watched the entire series.
Nice.
It was probably like 1 a.m. when I started. When I finished the first 2 episodes, and then it was like, and then I could see through my window the sun was coming up by the time by the time I finished. But I don't regret it. I don't regret it. It was great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And what was it? A lot
Well,
of
I think it's kind of cool that because obviously, like, the way that Karate Kid plays out, that we think of Daniel as the good guy, but in reality, if you really think about it, like, if you really watch the movie, it's like Daniel's kind of a dick, and
right.
you know,
Yeah, that's actually something that they do address because in 2015, this person, I forget who it is, but they put out a video on YouTube about the alternative theory behind the Karate Kid and how, in fact, Daniel was actually the bad guy and Johnny was just like an innocent bystander. And in the series they do kind of go down that path when Johnny was recounting what had happened between him and Daniel and what the beef was. He does paint himself that way as just this innocent bystander who got roped into this rivalry.
right,
Because like the theory initially goes like, you know, Daniel was making moves on the newly broken up couple of Johnny and Elizabeth Shue's character. I forget what her character name was. And so one night, the famous beach scene where he goes down to go talk to her and try to work things out. Daniel intervenes, or Daniel just like Daniel shows up and asks, kind of being like a male feminist, like, "Oh, what's going on over here?" And asks, and then Johnny asks him to butt out, and then yeah, and like Johnny kind of like, it kind of sort of instigates, but Daniel could have easily just walked away after it. But Daniel gets pushed down to the ground, and then and then at that point, Daniel had the choice of just kind of walking away, but he doesn't. He gets into a fight stance, to which Johnny Lawrence responds because he was actually trained in karate, and like dispatches him, pretty handily.
right.
And then at least in the show, Johnny said like, oh, after that, after I beat him up, I thought, that was the end of it. I didn't want anything else to do with him, but he's the one that came after me like a couple weeks later at the dance where I was just in the bathroom minding my own business, and he drapes a hose over me while I was in the stall and soaks me again, provoking me without any reason.
Right.
So, you kind of, and then it's what also is great about this series is that you kind of end up rooting for both sides. You end up rooting for Johnny. You end up you also root for Daniel.
Well, that's kind of it. Yeah. So it's like they shifted a little bit, whereas it's kind of a little bit of somewhat of a redemption on both sides. Then, right? Is that kind of like what I'm hearing?
Well, I don't know so much of a redemption, but maybe for at least on Daniel's side, but it's more of him trying to get past some past maybe biases or prejudices. Because one of the things is like because his daughter starts spoiler, his daughter starts like kind of seeing Johnny's student dating.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and in a scene where they're having a family dinner, it's like, oh, I don't want you to associate with any of those Cobra Kai kids, and which kind of creates like this conflict within his daughter because like she's dating this guy that is a student of Johnny's, and it's like, oh, but she kind of even says like, oh, what if they're not all bad? But it's just like kind of like Daniel's prejudice, like from his experience. Like, no, they're all bad kids. You gotta stay away from
them. Right. That's kind of I'll definitely have to check this out because you've been talking about it pretty much all week. So
yeah, I have.
And it's very rare when a show comes on or something like that you're really excited about. So I'll have to check it out.
Oh, also this show is very unapologetic, and it kind of dumps on pussified millennial kids, just like the
nice,
yeah, and the kind of like the absurdity of SJW niceties. Like there's like an assembly or something at school, and like the teacher tries not to use gendered specific pronouns and tries to be like inclusive, and it's like I remember specifically one scene where Johnny's training his student Miguel, and I guess he has like asthma, and then like he takes like he starts to like take his inhaler, and then Johnny takes the inhaler and like just throws it against the wall, like shatters it. It's like, hey, there are no these like these pussy made up diseases allowed in Cobra Kai. And I was just like, and I was pretty surprised too, because for one, this thing is being put on YouTube,
right?
So like how how did they even are allowed to do such a thing? But it might have been something worked out in the contract. Yeah, well, because it's a little weird that that a show like this is on YouTube. When
that's why
when there are other
a lot of other platforms they could have done it, but
Netflix or Hulu,
right? No, I was saying I kept seeing the commercials and stuff for it on other things. I was like, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what to make of it, and I thought it's like, well, is it gonna be any good? And I was like, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I'm totally with you because I thought it's like, because when I first saw the commercials for this, when I'm watching YouTube and like the advertisement before the video starts playing, I was like, oh great, another nostalgia '80s cash grab, and yeah, so I didn't really think very highly of this show either, but I actually wasn't even thinking of watching it until I saw a review video about it and kind of like praising the show. I was like, okay, because I think the title of the video was like why Cobra Kai is great, and at first I thought it was like one of those like kind of like expectation reversals where it's like guess what, it's not that great, but yeah, but the video was talking about like all the things that I have been talking about, and how great it is. So I was like, okay, and then I watched the first 2 episodes, and I was like, holy crap! I ended up binge watching the entire season in one night.
Wow! So, well, that might be what I had to do then.
Yes. And it was just announced that they have been approved for season 2.
Oh, that's cool.
And no spoilers, but at the end of the last episode of the season, there is a surprise. There is a surprise that that makes you go, oh crap, and I think will be dealt with in season 2.
No, it sounds awesome.
Yes. So I would recommend people to go watch this, even if you haven't seen the first movie or any of the subsequent movies that follow. You'll get the gist of it. Of what I mean, for the younger viewers, you'll get the gist of it. And just one, I guess, just to tie it back to our initial discussion of Jordan Peterson, there's an awesome scene where the Johnny Lawrence character starts cleaning his apartment in a Jordan Peterson-esque, like getting his life together. You know, he just kind of walks in and he kind of throws his keys down and just kind of looks at the squalor that he's living in. And it's like time for a change. And then like you see like a montage of him like picking up like empty beer cans and old newspapers and just getting his life together.
Nice.
This is great.
Oh, that's great.
Right? Well, now you have to watch it.
I do. I got to.